What up? What up? Gagut greetings. Welcome to this Gagut briefing. I have a young lady who will want to be briefed on the God order. And we're going to have this bill right now. You know what I'm saying? Just to shed some light on the God order, on Gagut. Alright? So let me bring the young lady in so we can have this bill. Minister God's almighty grand unified. Everything is God, even you and I. This Babylon lifestyle just a suicide. A suicide, they don't want us all to unify or realize all the energy that's deep inside. To utilize, they colonize our deepest minds. All the lies that coincide, the school, the food, the radio and the news. Politics and the president just be making the rules. Turn around and just break them. Got you waiting for Jesus, my brother, you've been forsaken. Freedom is taken. They don't come with no vote. Put you right in some chains, carried you off to the boat. Minister God's almighty grand unified. Everything is God, even you and I. This Babylon lifestyle just a suicide. A suicide, they don't want us all to unify. What? Woo! What up, though?
Hey.
Peace and love, goddess. How you doing? Gagged greetings.
Peace. Gagged greetings. I'm good. How are you?
All is well. All is well. So we had a brief discussion like yesterday, and you were inquisitive about the God order, about Gagged, what it actually means, how can it be applied, just an overall understanding of it. You know what I'm saying? So I asked if you just, whatever questions you had, you put them down, you list them, and we could address every single thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to open up with something, just to give me something to go off so I can have a starting point, and then whenever it's a question, you could just stop me and just ask me a question pertaining to that, and we can get some clarification on it.
All right. So first question is, like, on a fundamental basis, what is Gagged? Just on the fundamental level, what is Gagged? Okay.
Gagged is an acronym for the God Almighty's Grand Unified Theorem. Mm-hmm. What it is they call it the Holy Grail of mathematics.
Okay.
It's the completion of Albert Einstein's work with relativity and the answer to the so-called theory of everything. See, what scientists sought out to do since time immemorial was find a simplified formula that would encompass all of science and all of mathematics. And the only way that they can find a way to encompass all of science and all of mathematics, they had to have quantum physics in it, physics in it, astrophysics in it. They wanted to encompass everything in science, and they could not find it. All of the great thinkers could not find it. You know what I'm saying? Gagged greetings. Shout out to the chief. I love myself. They could not find it. Isaac Newton couldn't find it. Galileo Galilei couldn't find it. Mm-hmm. Albert Einstein couldn't find it. He lived his whole life up until 1955. He died trying to find it. You know what I'm saying? He died trying to find it. So what happened was Professor Gabriel Yibo found it in 1990, and he called it God Almighty's Grand Unified Theorem, nicknamed Gagged, G-I-J, comma J equals 0. Now, what's so important is that this came through a black person. This had to come through us. This is why we got great minds. Very, very tremendous thinkers. Like, we got Chief in the building. He's one of our teachers that we found to be like a miracle. Like, you've been through all of this torture. We've been through all of this misfortune. We've been poisoned in our minds and our bodies. We've been living in the ghettos. We've been forced to have the worst nutrition, to have the worst mental nutrition. Our schools, we go to our schools, we barely got books.
Right.
And the books that we do got are outdated. But yet we have great geniuses amongst us. We look at some of our esteemed ancestors and elders like George Washington Carver, who did all of that work with the peanut and soy and soybeans and all of that. He was born into a family that were enslaved. His mother and father were in slavery. They were prisoners of war. They were in slavery. He could have easily accepted a lifestyle, that made that his reality, but he didn't. He challenged everything that was in his immediate reality and chose to walk 10 miles to school sometimes. Sometimes he would also just go to the forest, just go to the woods and learn from nature, because nature is our first teacher.
Yeah.
We are nature. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what happened is, with modern science, with European science, these thinkers, they took man out of nature. They took God, in essence, out of science. And this also happens with religion. Religion takes science out of the spirituality. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when we have, we're top heavy, we're either all religious, spiritual, and no science, or all science and no spirituality. Right. Now what Gaga did, the God Almighty Grand Unified Theorem, brought all of that together. It brings all of that together. It's the answer to the so-called theory of everything. All right, so that's an overall. And to get more into detail about it, this is what's going to be very, very heavy, very deep. And I want to show you some verifications that we can all use. And just like I said, this is something that had to come through the melanated man and woman. This is how we know for a fact our intelligence is superior to anybody. And this not like a shot at anybody. See, this is what's crazy, is because right now, the federal government has made this term called Black Identity Extremists. Have you ever heard of this?
No, first time.
They have this term, they label terrorists, Black people, called Black Identity Extremists. Look it up, write it down, look it up. I can't make this up. So if you're pro who you are, they label you a terrorist and call you a Black Identity Extremist?
Yeah.
How, this is some of the craziest stuff ever. And these things have to come through us because we have the most intelligent DNA. This is something that we also learned through Gaga. So what happened was, when Professor Oyibo found this in 1990, and mind you, he's not the first person to have this. This was in antiquity. This is something very ancient that not until now did it come back, to the mainstream science, but it had to come through us. It didn't come through Isaac Newton. It didn't come through Galileo. It didn't come through Albert Einstein, David Hilbert, Carl Friedrich Gauss. It could not have come through any of them because they lack the intellectual enzymes that we naturally possess. This is why when we connect back to our natural selves, we began to receive the most bleeding edge of genius information. It comes through us, like Garrett Morgan, who invented the traffic light. But what he did was he sold that idea to GE, and GE now has traffic lights all around the world. So that was something that if we actually got behind it, we could have used that technology and we could be benefiting from that. Instead, GE does. Like another great ancestor, an elder who I want to bring to our attention is Vivian Thomas. Have you heard of Vivian Thomas? And this is why it's so important for us right now, especially Black people, especially the melanated man and woman. We got to reinforce intelligence with ourselves. We got to promote deep thought conversations. We got to provoke for us to really exercise our intelligence in everything we do. This is why we don't just eat anything. We don't just drink anything. We don't just do what other people do. We don't just subscribe to the programming, to the television, from the media, from the music we listen to. Listen to the music we listen to. It's some real toxic music. Look at the TV shows, that's circulating on the networks that we conditioned to watch. Some toxic stuff. The only relationships that we know how to conduct are examples that's given to us from VH1, Love and Hip Hop, Black Ink, and Empire and Power. If those are the only examples of relating to ourselves that we have, we're going to be in some bad shape. You know what I'm saying? So we have to look at esteemed elders and ancestors. Let's see, somebody already up on it. Vivian Thomas was a black man who was hired by Johns Hopkins Hospital as a janitor. He was labeled as a janitor. He was hired by Johns Hopkins Hospital as a janitor. Vivian Thomas later broke into the operating room and perfected heart surgery when nobody else was perfecting heart surgery. They were attempting to, but they were failing. Nobody else had perfected heart surgery. I'm talking about Europeans, mind you. None of them could perfect heart surgery. Vivian Thomas was labeled as a janitor, hired as a janitor, snuck into the operating room, perfected heart surgery. Then after he did that, he still cleaned the hospital because he didn't want to lose his job. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine if instead of him then selling that procedure that he perfected to Johns Hopkins, imagine if he started his own practice. Then heart surgery specifically would be something that black people had monopoly on. You would have to come to a black man. He taught all of the other surgeons. He taught everybody else how to do it.
Right.
They made a movie documenting this that was on HBO. It starred Mos Def playing Vivian Thomas. It's called Something That the Lord Made. Look into that.
Yeah,
and what's important is Vivian never went to medical school. He never went to college. He has no medical background. Looking at it on paper, you would say, yes, he's a janitor. But what he was a member of the most intelligent race of human beings on the planet. You see what I'm saying? So this is why there's poison in our air. This is why there's poison in our waters. This is why we're being bombarded on every front. This is why we're put into the miseducation system. You know what I'm saying? It's a miseducation system. You know what I'm saying? And these things have to come through us. We are the leaders of humanity. We are the true teachers of humanity. But just like Vivian, a lot of us are acting like the labels that's been placed upon us by the people who want to keep us underneath of them. We're acting like drug dealers. We're acting like janitors. We're acting like real niggas and bad bitches. That's what we're acting like because those labels are the labels projected on us. You see? But with examples like Vivian Thomas, George Washington Carver, and now Gabrielle Oyibo, this reinforces what we all feel. I'm pretty sure you wake up every day and you feel like you can do whatever, don't you?
Yeah,
you feel like you're unstoppable.
Yep.
I know you do. I know you do because I feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? And this is a truth. This is a theorem. A theorem means a truth. Infallible truth on top of a truth. You see what I'm saying? So just like with a lot of the teachings from a lot of people who's coming out now, like Chief was in the building, you know, carbonation, they do a lot of reinforcing how important it is for us to respect nature, for us to get back to nature, to our natural state. That's the same thing we saw with George Washington Carver. Or black people weren't even allowed to go to school, so he went to the woods. He went back to nature and learned what he knew about the power plant from nature. That's why he called it the plant, because he got it from nature. You see what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
So this is why even when you Google things like genius vegetarians, the list is crazy. Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Pythagoras, Thomas Edison, Gabrielle Oyibo. It's because, you know, our bodies, you know, house the spirit of the divine. You know, this is your temple. That's why they call these temples. This houses the spirit of the divine. So for you to be able to be as sharp as you can, you got to have your instrument clean. You got your instrument clean. Like it has to be running, you know, tip-top shape. So this is examples that we see of people already moving Gagutically. Now, I want to go into a little bit in this book. This book is the discovery book of the God Almighty Grand Unified Theorem, if you can see it. This book is $1,500 brand new. It's about $750 used on Amazon. You can find one for $750 used on Amazon. I'm an authorized dealer of the Gagget books though, so I get a crazy discount. So if you need it, let me know. Hit me up, and we'll work something out. I'll definitely get you the information cheaper than that, because the professor wants it for us. He don't want it for nobody else. Yo, Harvard sends him emails begging him to teach this at Harvard. Yale sends him emails begging him to come teach at Yale. Princeton sends him in begging him to come. He doesn't want them. He wants us. You know what I'm saying? He wants us. He wants to bring this straight. So he wants us to have this. Much like the Jewish community have E = MC squared. All right. So now I just wanted to take you on a trip real quick to talk about something that people are using as a talking point, and it's the new carrot that they're dangling in front of black people when it comes to this voting thing. Do you vote?
I'm 20, so I haven't voted in the past 2 years.
Okay, that's good. So we got you at the right time.
Yeah.
We got you at the right time. Don't worry about it. So what it is they're using this as a tool. You know what I'm saying? It's really a distraction. It's a big time distraction. See, the things we want, we think we have to vote for them. And I'm going to show you how Gagget disproves all of that. You know what I'm saying? Although we already know it's some flim-flam, but in between 40 and 80 million black people that's in this United States right now, how many of them think the way you do, that you know of? Not a lot.
Not a lot. Yeah, not a lot.
Not even in your family. In your close circle of friends, how many people are thinking on the level that you are?
My friends definitely, but my family, nah.
Not a lot. That's because of the time and space that we're in. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us that are awake, these chosen ones. It's time for us to really start exercising our intelligence. And if the people that we love and care about, if they actually pay attention, if they actually come to, because you got to come to the information. Like it's not something that is going to be so profound that you have to really be one of the chosen. You really have to wake up to it. You know what I'm saying? And if they really are going to do it, they got to realize their reality first, because I'm pretty sure you woke up one day and was like, something not right about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, something like, this is not adding up. And then you go to research and then you find stuff and you're like, holy crap, I've been lied to this whole damn time.
Yep.
So like some of the things that we want, especially we look at the American Africans, black people in America, the Melanites, we want better schools, right? We want to control our own resources in our own community, right? We want not to be shot down dead on the street by police every day, right? We want better health. We want to not be the majority of the prison population. These are 5 good things that we all want. Now, if we look at the Chinese community, they have a Chinatown in every major city in America.
Right.
You don't see no Dominican stores in Chinatown. You don't see no Italian stores, no black stores. You don't see none of no other stores in Chinatown. It's Chinatown. You don't see Chinese people in the hospital. You don't see Chinese people in the jails, in the prisons. But yet they have the lowest voter turnout. You don't see Chinese people talking about how terrible Donald Trump is. They don't care about none of it.
Why do you feel like they're like kind of, I don't want to say they're forcing reparations on us, but why do you feel like that's such a big topic right now in the whole political atmosphere?
I got you. Now, when we're talking about politics, we got to understand that the base of the Democratic Party for years have been just the easy black vote. The black vote just comes. Like, we just blindly vote Democratic. So they don't really have to do no work for us. So it just easily comes. So if they mention something like reparations, this will give them more momentum. You know what I'm saying? But reparations doesn't come from a vote. It comes from intelligence. And I'm going to show you that with one good example. The European Jewish community. Okay? So my other device was acting up. Let me see if I can get it together because I wanted to show you some things and it's important that I look it up. Okay, I'm back on. I don't know what was wrong with it, but I'm back on. So in 1930, we're talking about the Jews, the European Jews, they received reparations. Are you aware of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they would like for us to think that the reason why the European Jews received reparations was because of their Holocaust. This is not true, and I'm gonna show you how this is not true. So this is why a lot of our leaders mistakenly take the lane of, oh well, you kept us in slavery and you did this and y'all did this, so y'all owe us reparations. You know, y'all, it's like a guilt trip type of thing that they're trying to get these reparations awarded to black people, and that's a bad move. Not to say don't do it, but don't put all your eggs in that basket. And I'm gonna show you that exactly what happened to the European Jews right now. So with them going through their Holocaust, they were being forced to live in the ghettos. They were being shot down on the street, buried in mass graves. They were literally being put inside of ovens and burnt. They were being put in gas chambers, and like all of this crazy stuff was happening during their Holocaust, right? Happening in 1930, they sent their shining star, Albert Einstein, to America, right next door from where I'm at right now. I'm in Philly. They sent him to Princeton, New Jersey, to build a school called the Institute for Advanced Study. Do you know about this school?
No.
I'm going to show you real quick. Okay. This is the Institute for Advanced Study. Okay, the Institute for Advanced Study, the IAS. All right. Now look, it was established in 1930. In 1930, they gave Einstein $6 million to go build this school. $6 million in 1930. Now, why that's so important is, look at this. 1930 was a year into the Great Depression. The Great Depression was a worldwide financial crisis. It started in 1929. It started in 1929. So a year into a worldwide financial crisis, they sacrificed $6 million and gave it to Einstein to come to America to build this school. Because they were being undereducated or miseducated, because they weren't allowed to go to Princeton at this time. They weren't allowed to go to Harvard. They were looked at on the lowest caste system of European people, period. In Europe, they were like the lowest ones on the totem pole, right? So in the middle of a worldwide financial crisis, they saw the value of intelligence and they sacrificed $6 million to build this school. All right. Now, their Holocaust didn't end after they donated that money and built that school. And we know that for a fact because of this. Adolf Hitler was the one who was the leader. He was leading the barrage on this attack against the European Jews, correct? Yeah. With the Nazis. Yeah. Adolf Hitler was on the cover of Time magazine in 1938. Look. Is the man of the year. The man of the year in 1938. This was 8 years into them having their school. Now, Time magazine is one of, if not the most prestigious historical news publication in America's history. How could they put a murderer like Adolf Hitler on the cover and call him the man of the year? Because they did not care what he was doing to those European Jews, especially the way they care about the Jews now. America rides for the Jews now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
So what happened? to change the dynamic so drastically? Like, what happened? Do you have an idea what happened?
No, no.
Because it wasn't the school. They had the school in 1930.
Mm-hmm.
In 38, they was honoring Adolf Hitler, calling him the man of the year, patting him on the back damn near for murdering those Jewish people.
Was it?
I'll
Was
tell
it?
you what happened.
It wasn't the atomic bomb, was it?
There you go.
Okay.
But what happened was World War II.
Okay.
World War II. The worst, most devastating war in the history of the world. Do you know how many people died in World War II?
Not offhand, no.
Just take a guess. It's not. Let's take a guess.
I'm gonna look it up.
Huh? Just take a guess.
I honestly don't know.
We know you don't know. Just take a guess. I want the shock and awe when I show you the answer.
Like 1 million. More than 1 million.
1 million.
1 million.
Listen, Chicago got more murders than that. Look.
Oh, wow.
75 to 85 million people died in World War II.
Wow.
70 to 85 million. So, what happened to stop World War II was the atomic bomb that America dropped on 2 Japanese towns, one named Hiroshima, the other named Nagasaki.
Mm-hmm.
How they made those bombs was the president at the time, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, heard about this Jewish school in Princeton, New Jersey, went to IAS and used the intelligence of E = MC squared to build the atomic bomb and drop on World War II. To end World War II. That was in 1945. After that, you didn't hear anything happening bad to a Jew. After that, the European Jews received their reparations. After that, the European Jews were awarded their state of Israel in 1948. All of that happened as a consequence of them investing in their future via the intelligence of relativity. E minus MC squared equals 0. Now, what's so devastating is E minus MC squared equals 0, that's a theory. Albert Einstein did not complete it. He died in 1955 without completing it. Gabriel Oyibo completed it in 1990. Graduating it from a theory to a theorem. So if the European Jews can bring themselves out of the gas chamber by attaching themselves and investing in E minus MC squared equals 0 and building a school, what do you think can happen for Black people if we attach ourselves to Gij, comma J equals 0?
But okay, my question is, at what cost though? I feel like a Great Depression is on its way. Like, if we're looking at the way the economics are going in America and kind of all over the world, you know, so it's like, I feel like we already headed in that direction.
Did that stop those European Jews? No. Listen, we just saw over the course of 2 weeks, Popeye's Chicken got $65 million out of Black folks off of giving them high blood pressure and diabetes. In 2 weeks, they got $65 million from Black people specifically. Popeye's not even in the suburbs. It's only in Black neighborhoods.
They met their quota in 2 weeks. That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So listen to these numbers. And this is why, like, I want to try my best to galvanize some of the greatest thinkers that we have, some of the greatest minds that we have. Should be teachers, should be professors, and should have this information. And we should be sharing this information. A lot of people are already moving Gagutically without even having this information. So when we actually get this information and apply this, listen, this is the same mathematics that you apply to alchemy. physical alchemy, turning base metal, base metals, turning lead into gold.
Yeah.
We can literally do that, and we learn it through studying Gaga. You see what I'm saying? It's the same mathematics that's used to build the pyramids. We could be building pyramids again using Gaga. And even better, we can surpass those works of our great ancestors. We can surpass it. Like, we have something that hasn't been on the planet since antiquity. You know what I'm saying? And it had to come through us. It has to come through us. This is our gift. This is our birthright. This is our blessing. You see what I'm saying? But we've been distracted from being scientists, from being thinkers, from being actual technicians, from creating stuff again, that it seems like we've bought into the fraudulent labeling placed on us by Jim Crowism. Like, we bought into it, you know what I'm saying? To the point that see, like, I logged in 81. I remember when crack first started popping. Like, everything was normal one day. Then we woke up the next day, it was crack everywhere. Like, it was like zombie land. Like, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that used to be acceptable and the norm to my generation, a lot of younger people have broken free. Their epigenetics is broken free of that stuff. Like, you know, y'all remember black presidents is normal to y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was young. We never dreamed there would be a black president. We never dreamed that there would be. We made jokes about that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Jokingly, we talked about, like, we just knew it would never happen. You know what I'm saying? Because we've accepted that labeling that what a genius is supposed to look like is a white person. What a leader is supposed to look like is a white person. Is this picture of what a genius is. But what Gaga does, Gaga has rewritten what that says a genius is supposed to look like. Now, I want to give you some mathematics from the actual Yale study. Hold on, let me get my ink. And I want to break this down for you. Just a little bit more. Is there any questions so far?
Does anybody else have questions? I have a couple questions. I want to touch on a couple of stuff, but
go ahead, hit me. Let me know what it is so I can write it down.
I want you to finish, though. Because I'm gonna lose track.
Okay. So, real quick, he completed it. Gabriel Oyibo completed it in 1990. It shook up the science community. As a consequence of that, it was investigated by damn near every top level of academia, including the White House, the federal government under the Clinton administration, investigated Gaga in 1997. They found no flaws. So what they did was they called for backup. They called Yale University and got Yale to investigate it. Do you know much about Yale University?
Yeah. I went to school up there.
Yale's home. Say it again?
Yeah, I said, I went to school up there.
Okay, so you know Yale is home of the Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
You know the Skull and Bones is a branch of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Okay. White supremacy, literally.
I know. I know, yeah.
That's who Yale is. So Yale investigated it. White supremacy, ground zero, investigated Gaga. And I'm going to show you their study. I'm going to show you their article. Now, what's so crucial about this is the conclusion didn't match the hypothesis. It was so drastically different that Yale copywritten the information. They put a copyright on it so nobody else can share this information with you, other than Yale and the Olfabet Institute where Gabriel Oyibo is at. This is why you don't hear about this in mainstream media. They know they don't have to, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to go look for it. You know what I'm saying? So look, I'm going to give you this right here. I'm going to show you how to find it. So when you're talking about it with somebody, you can articulate yourself responsibly, and you actually got the scrap paper to break it down.
Yeah.
All right, so here you go. Yale investigates Gaga in 1997. All right, and you go to the first one. It says God News. This is directly from the Olfabet Institute. God Almighty's grand unified theorem, nicknamed Gagut, G-I-J, J equals 0, represents the God order. News ordaining Professor Gabriel Oyibo, a black man with the ultimate intelligence, and hence the black people, the most intelligent and undefeatable race. Now, what they're saying is, how they're saying that is this. They're saying that black people, African descended people, have the most amount of intelligent strands of DNA called polymorphisms. They're saying we have 28, and they're saying that all other races have 19. See, polymorphisms, basically it means intelligence. We can go into the definition and give you a more detailed definition of polymorphism.
Yeah, can you
Let's
break
get through
down the
this article.
etymology of it?
I could do that right
Morphical.
now for you.
Yeah.
No problem.
So
No problem.
morphism is just there being so many different types.
No problem. Watch. No problem. Polymorphism, the condition of occurring in several different forms.
Gotcha. Okay.
Look, biological, the occurrence of different forms among the members of a population or colony, or in the life cycle of an individual organism. Genetics, watch this. The presence of genetic variation within a population upon which natural selection can operate. What they're telling you is that natural selection, evolution, none of that can be possible if it had not been for black people, because we have the most genetic variation. Think about it. When you look at black people, you see every phenotype. You see Asian phenotype, you see Spanish phenotype, you see the blackest of black, you see the bluest of blue. We even got light white black people. Light white black people. But when you look into, say, even when you go into Asia, the oldest Asians are African. They came from Africa. But when you look into those light-skinned Asians, they can't make dark-skinned people like me. They can't make me. You go into Europe, look into a whole group of Europeans, a whole culture of them, they only make them. They don't make Spanish, black. They don't make any other thing but themselves. That's because that's us. We have the most polymorphisms, which is a natural genetic intelligence. We have that. They can never catch up to us. Never. It's impossible. That's why they get us to damage our own DNA by smoking GMO marijuana, by eating
that's
GMO
what I wanted to
food.
talk about, was the weed. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that's why they doing it. Gadget came out in 1990. After 1990, there was a burst of GMOs, Look, prior to 1990, I was around and I was walking and talking. I remember a lot of stuff from then. You couldn't find a seedless grape. You couldn't find a seedless watermelon. You couldn't find this stuff. It did not exist. You couldn't find an orange without seeds in it. That stuff was like, you didn't find that. Prior to, as soon as Gaggut came out, it was a burst of GMOs everywhere. The GMO marijuana, the GMO fruits, the GMO foods. Well, they've been started the fluoride campaign. They already knew about that through 1930 with the Nazis, what the German Nazis did to the European Jews in the ghetto. And matter of fact, they started their campaign in Africa, mind you. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew we had the most genetic variations. You know what I'm saying? So that's what polymorphism means. And somebody put Jack Jack from The Incredibles. Did you see The Incredibles?
Yeah.
Did you see part 2?
Yeah, when he was doing everything. He had every superpower.
They call Jack Jack a polymorph.
Okay.
Right. So when they talk about the X-Men, who they talking about?
Black people.
They have no idea what our limitations are. All they know is when they call the police and say it's a black man, they send all the cars. This is why. This is why. This is why they have to start us at a disadvantage. Because we will do the same thing in the boardroom that LeBron James does on the basketball court. We will do the same thing that Michael Jordan does on the basketball court in the stock office. Mm. We will do the same things. Mm-hmm. Now, let me give you some more of this document, because this is really heavy, and I want to show you it directly from them. So what I just showed you first is the outline. This is the outline, but this is the actual article from Yale that you won't get anywhere else, because Yale copywritten the information. They're hiding this. They're not going to make this public. They don't want nobody to know. Now, what this is this is the nuclear DNA diversity in worldwide distributed human populations. Okay? This is done. Let me show it to you. Get my focus together. This is done at Yale University. Can you see?
A little bit.
University
yeah.
School of Medicine. Hold on. Let me blow it up a little bit. Here we go. This is done at the Yale University School of Medicine. You see it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. That's the nuclear DNA diversity in worldwide distributed human populations. Okay. Now, do you understand that title? Nuclear DNA diversity.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're together, because if we're talking about nuclear, this is the nucleus. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The nucleus, that's the middle of the cell. We're talking about the nucleus. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about DNA diversity and worldwide distributed human populations. Populations in the worldwide human populations, in all human populations in the world. This is what they did. They went around and they studied the DNA from all human populations. All right, so let me give you a little bit of this. Okay. Okay, in this way, to avoid the European bias in the nuclear polymorphism ascertainment has been avoided in a maximum likelihood tree constructed from the frequency data. Africans, watch this. Let me blow this up. Africans clustered separately. Africans clustered separately from non-African populations. All right. Africans clustered separately from non-populations. Look, 15 polymorphisms were shared amongst most of the populations. Okay. So 15 is what we all have. So we all have stomach. Like, this is the base 15 polymorphisms when we talk about we're all the same. So we understand that. Now watch this. This is where it get freakier at. So 15 polymorphisms were shared amongst the populations compared, whereas an additional 13 were found to be endemic. Endemic means they only come in, they was exclusive. Endemic is like exclusive. 13 more were endemic to Africans. 13 more were endemic to Africans. So we have the base 15 plus 13, which gives us the 28 polymorphisms.
Gotcha.
And they're saying only 4 more to non-Africans. So they have the plus 4 more, which gives them the 19 polymorphisms. You see that? So what they said was that African descended people, black people, have 28, and all other people have 19. This is how they came up with that number. Through the nuclear diversity ascertainment in human populations. Oh, we lost her. Something wrong with her phone. She might got to come back. She might got to plug it up or come back or whatever. I'm going to keep building those so she can come back on later and check it out later. Now, what's so important about these numbers specifically, I'm going to show you the wizardry that they did. Now, we understand that this study was conducted by Yale University, and we know that Yale University is home to Skull and Bones. And we know that Skull and Bones is analogous to white supremacy as we know it, then we can basically come to the conclusion that they suppressed our number and they inflated their number. You know what I'm saying? But let me see, she coming back in. So let me run that back again. And we could do more. I could do another couple of minutes build on the Illuminati and Skull and Bones and what that actually is and who those people actually are. Okay. Did you see this, right? Did you see how we got this number, right?
No, I was left at 28. That was the last thing.
Okay. Okay, let me show you, because it ain't go nowhere. It's still there. Okay. 28, an additional 13 were endemic to Africans, and 4 more to non-Africans. So non-Africans had just 4 more. So that's the 15 plus 4 to bring them to their 19. You see that? Okay. So this is how they got that number. This is how they got that number. This is how they got that number. Now, somebody asked me to break down those organizations, but this is what I said. Being as though we see this study was done by Yale, we know Yale is home of the Skull and Bones, and we know the Skull and Bones is a branch of Illuminati, and the Illuminati is white supremacy. Then we can conclude that it's most likely that they suppressed our number and they inflated their number. And look, I'm gonna show you a little bit more, because somebody asked me to go in on those organizations. Let me just show you a little bit more, okay? Listen. At this Yale School of Medicine, Yale University School of Medicine, this gentleman is the chairman. He sits at the chair. His name is Kenneth K. Kidd. Those initials are K, K, K. And if you don't believe, let's show you Kenneth K. Kidd real quick. Let me show you Kenneth K. Kidd so you can see what we're talking about. There you go. This is Kenneth K. Kidd. Do you see him? This is who we're talking about. He's the chairman. Kenneth K. Kidd is an American human geneticist and emeritus professor of genetics at Yale University School of Medicine. He's the chairman. He sits at the chair. Kenneth K. Kidd, KKK. So it's most likely that they suppressed our number, right? They suppressed our number and they inflated their number. And we can also determine that because of this, the 3/5 compromise, 13th Amendment. You know about that?
Yep. The black people.
You broke up a little bit. Say that again.
Yeah, for some reason my connection's real bad. I can try signing off and coming back, but I was saying that black people were only seen as 3/5 of a person, not a full person.
Right.
Or human.
There you go. 3/5 compromise. Now watch this. The 3/5 compromise clause remained in force until the Civil War ended in 13th Amendment, freed all enslaved people, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, why that's important is they were saying that we were 3/5, right? 3/5. That's that Constitution, right? Our Gagutical Constitution was a blessing given to us by the Yale study. These are the numbers given to us by the Yale study. The nuclear DNA. See, there was no science to the 13th Amendment. There was no science to that. There was no science at all. This was strictly European bias to say we're 3/5 of a human.
Mm.
But after looking at this number, watch this. So if we can conclude that they suppressed our number, this would take our 28 to 30. And they inflated their number. This would take their 19, take it down one notch to 18. 30 and 18 have a common denominator, which is 6. 6 goes into 30 5 times. I messed that 5 up. 6 goes into 30 5 times. 18 3 times. This is a complete inversion of what we see from the 3/5. We weren't 3/5, we were actually 5/3 this whole time. We have the superior intelligence. We're really 5/3. They're really 3/5. Exactly. 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 This is why we have the great amount of genius material that we have, even through all of adversity that we've been through all of the adversity. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you hearing screams at night of people being hung, murdered, tortured, whipped, but still you get up and you create things and you're manufacturing things and you're building the country. We built the White House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did these things. You know what I'm saying? So I look at people now, especially black people in America's, you know, who out there maintaining this false labeling by Jim Crow of 3/5 by doing non-gagutical things, unrighteous things, selling drugs, shooting each other, playing the act of these personas of real niggas or bad bitches. I see them just like a Malcolm Little. You know Malcolm Little, right?
Like the show?
No, Malcolm Little. You might know him better by his other name, Malcolm X.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
See, when he was Malcolm Little, that's when he was a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he was a drug user. That's when he was a criminal. But when he learned a little bit of information about himself, that transformed his consciousness to be one of the greatest leaders that we ever had. So a lot of our people just don't know enough about themselves to transform their consciousness, to abandon these false labels. You know what I'm saying? To abandon these false labels. Yeah, Detroit Red, that's another one. He was Malcolm Little, Detroit Red, then he was Malcolm X, and he was El Haj Malik Al-Shabazz. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important for us to really know history, because if we don't know history, we're bound to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? So the actual mathematics involving alchemy, involving time travel, involving the pyramid builders, all of that science is inside of Gaga. And I study it all the time. It's very exciting for me to talk about it. And I would love to go in more detail with you. And now that we have this out the way, you know, maybe our next time we actually have a build and we build live, we can go in deeper. And it's a couple people that I saw in here that we all built on it already. Like my brother Cor was in here. Me and Cor talk about this stuff all the time. He's one of my my peers, my colleagues, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I saw Chief was in here. We build on it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And what it is we forgot how thorough we is. Like, we forgot. After 2,500 years of this treatment, this false labeling, you know, this second-class citizenship type stuff that we're taking, we now get the opportunity to get back into the position of being leaders of humanity, of being the teachers, you know what I'm saying, of being the real Gagutians that we're supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? So with us knowing this and knowing that they know this, that's the other part. They know this. This came through the White House in 1997 through the Clinton administration. Hillary Clinton personally briefed the White House Senate about this in 2000. September 19th, year 2000, Hillary Clinton briefed the White House Senate about this. Senator McCain also briefed the Pentagon about Gaga. Professor Oyibo was there. They all know about this, but they're not articulating this to us. Now, think about this. You know somebody knows something, but you also know that they not telling you. Why would they not tell you? See, we know now through the Gagut Constitution given to us from Yale University and the White House that being as though we have superior polymorphism count, superior DNA, this means we should not be dying at the rate that we're dying.
Yeah.
No.
This is crazy.
No. We should not be leading the country in diabetes, in heart disease. You know what I'm saying? We should not have all of these damn dialysis centers in our neighborhoods. This is because we're moving out of alignment with the God order. We're not moving Gagutically. You know what I'm saying? Although we know that us even being outside of the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn compromises our intelligence and our DNA. We know this for a fact. How much further do you think we go from the truth when we're eating GMO foods, where we're drinking poison water? The water is literally poison. If you go to your faucet, pour some water in there out the spigot, then take a fish, a goldfish, put the goldfish in the water. That goldfish is going to die because that water is poison. Mm-hmm. This further damages our DNA. And see, they don't care about damaging their DNA because with them having only 18 to 19 polymorphisms and us having 28 to 30, they will never catch us. They will never catch us. So they will hurt themselves in order to hurt us. They will hurt themselves in order to hurt us so they can maintain their position as leaders, so they can keep this lie alive. This came through the White House plenty of times. Obama didn't tell you about this. Michelle didn't tell you about this. Trump definitely not going to tell you about this. The Clintons didn't tell you about this. Nobody has told you about this. And they do that because they want to keep us all in a state of arrested development. In a state of arrested development. When we exercise superior intelligence that we got this, we're taken down. You know what I'm saying? We're smeared. It's a vicious smear campaign. You know what I'm saying? We're dragged through the mud. Like we're put with all these labels that discredit our information. You know what I'm saying? And it's all a part of the ones that have the information, keeping it available to them. Just like I spoke about Yale doing this study. Yale University did this study. Yale has a course on Gagut. They bought a book. They bought some books from Professor Oyibo, and they're teaching Gagut at Yale. Harvard has a course on Gagut. Princeton has a course on Gagut. MIT has a course on Gagut. But not one black HBCU has a course on Gagut. Not one. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because those schools are not really historic black universities. They're really distractions. You know what I'm saying? They're really distractions. I can show you. I can show you right now. I can show you right now. Okay, watch this. Somebody goes to school at, say, MIT, right? Mm-hmm. As soon as they graduate from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they get a job at Boeing. The job is already there waiting for them. Yeah, it's because Apple, MIT, Microsoft. You're helping me out now. Mm-hmm. These schools have a marriage. They call it an industrial park. They have a marriage between education and industry. They have this marriage already set. So as soon as you graduate, you go right into your positions. HBCUs don't have that. That's why many of us graduate from these schools and have no job to apply this degree to. because they don't have
But
the
I don't think
marriage
that's the
between
I don't think that's the
industry.
fault of the institution. I think that's
I'm not
just
saying it's their fault. It's how it's designed. I'm not saying it's like something that's by accident. No, it's intentionally made that way. Just like Princeton is intentionally made that way. MIT is intentionally made that way.
mhm.
That's why it is. The only true HBCU we had was the Tuskegee Institute, and that was funded by George Washington Carver, who was one of the greatest thinkers that we know, but it was infiltrated by the government, undermined by all these other HBCUs that the government started. These were all funded by Europeans. They're not the. There's not George Washington Carver was there at Tuskegee. What genius black person is behind these HBCUs that we go to right now? Tell me.
I will have to do the research. I mean, I have friends at
There's
HBCUs right
none.
now, so
And
I
ask
will
them
have
if
to
they
do the
know about
research
what
on
I'm
that.
telling you. Ask them if they know about what about
I'll
Gaga.
ask him. I'll ask him.
They don't know. I'm telling you, they don't know. And if they do know, they didn't learn it from school. This is why so many black people have so many student loans now and find it difficult to get up out of this debt. It's because
Yeah,
the schools we've been going to.
just like a BT. I think BT just did a show at Howard. I think about student debt. That I think is everyone should watch that.
What is it called again?
Let me look it up right now.
I'm about to say because I'll check that joint out because I love information.
I think it's called Young, Gifted, and Broke. Let me see. Or Black, Gifted, and Broke. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, Young, Gifted, and Broke. Our Student Loan Crisis, BT News Special.
Yeah, I'm going to check that joint out.
Okay. I'll send it to you.
Out. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. I'm into that. Let me know. I'm into that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but.
So a lot of these, all of these schools, none of these so-called historical black universities have this. Like, this is the ultimate mathematics. Why you think Harvard, Princeton, Yale, MIT, Gagutical, all of these major Ivy League schools have it, but no black schools have it? And it literally came through the White House. The federal government knows about it. They make everything else mandated, mandatory and stuff, but not Gagutical. I speak to Professor Gabriel Oyibo personally. He tells me the stories of him reaching out to these universities and them shutting them down. Because it's not the people, it's the people who control it. And the people who control it don't want especially black people to have this, because this will do the same thing for us that E = MC squared did for those European Jews, by bringing them out of the ghettos, by taking them out of the gas chambers, by putting them into places in high society. It's intelligence. It's intelligence. When we exercise our supreme intelligence, they will come to us instead of us going to them. See, right now we're trying to come to them with, we want reparations. We need this. Y'all did this. No. We don't need anybody to do anything. We have the supreme mathematics. We have the ultimate intelligence. They should be coming to us. And Gaga does that. The same way that in 1945, FDR came to Princeton, New Jersey, came to Albert Einstein, those same Jews that they were putting in the gas chamber, and they awarded Adolf Hitler for doing so in 1938 by giving him the Man of the Year on Time magazine. They had to come to him and ask him for help. 85 million people died in World War II. Do you know how many people died because of the atomic bombs that they dropped? Not even a million. Not even a million. The bulk of that was done prior to those bombs dropping. Those bombs showed a superior intelligence when it came to weaponry. That's what it did. Now, Gaga is the holy grail of mathematics. Not only does it encompass the same math of E = MC squared, but it has in it the math of time travel and alchemy. You know what I'm saying? So with us having this superior mathematics, imagine if you go to school for, say, auto mechanics, right? And Professor Gabrielle Oyibo was your teacher. This means now you make the best cars. Yeah, because you're using the supreme mathematics of the universe to build your car. Imagine you go for anything, computer technology, anything. This means you make the best products in any field because of the supreme mathematics of Gagget, the God Almighty's grand unified theorem. Now, this has also been verified by many different, if we're going, see, even in America, it's already been verified, but we can go outside of America and it's been more greatly publicized, like People Daily. Have you heard of People Daily?
Mm-mm.
People Daily is the 5th largest news publication in the world. It's the newspaper in China. And People Daily has honored Gagget as being the holy grail of mathematics, the greatest mathematics discovery in the world as of yet. This is in China. And Russia, I can send that article. Send me your email and I'll send you that article. And Russia Daily as well. Russia Daily is the largest news publication in Russia. And Russia honored Gagget with like a 20 line article. When this is a world news publication, they don't spend 20 lines on anything. They got so much stuff to talk about. They use 20 lines to illustrate the greatness of Gagget, the God Almighty grand unified theorem. This is our ultimate weapon, and our ultimate weapon lies dormant within inside us. So we got to first start by sparking the minds. You know what I'm saying? And then just like those European Jews that rally behind equals MC squared, much like black people rally behind the damn poisonous chicken sandwich, we need to rally behind some intelligence to secure a future for our children. Not only our children, but our children's children. You know what I'm saying? Because after 1945, you can't tell me a story about somebody murdering some Jews, putting them in the oven, forcing them to live in the ghettos, gas chambering them, police brutality on them. You can't, nothing has had, listen, it been nothing but up for them after they attached themselves to that supreme intelligence that they had at that time, which was the highest form from Albert Einstein's E equal MC squared, or E minus MC squared equals 0. So with us adhering to the most intelligent form of mathematics that can create technology that can control resources, some of the greatest resources. And what Gagget does is its simplicity takes away a lot of the foolishness that's going on with all of our technology that we use now. Like, we look at the vehicles, the way that the cars are made. So many people die from car crashes. The way that we eat, the way that the food is made. So many of us die from high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes. Look at all these cancers that's out there. And by the way, September is National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Prostate cancer is number 2. It's the number 2 cancer that causes death. You know what I'm saying? So we need to spread awareness about that as well. And keep in mind, anything that harms the prostate also harms the uterus. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that we all share. But Gagget puts an end to that. Gagget puts an end to that. We know now from our Gagutical Constitution given to us by the White House and the Yale study in 1997, we should not be dying at the rate we're dying at. We should not have the diseases that we have. We should not have these ailments that we have. So now that we know that, how do we correct it? How do we correct it? We correct it by letting go of what we know is bad and embracing what we know is good. By getting back to nature, by getting in tune with the harmonics of life in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to exercise our intelligence to the utmost. You know, like I was talking to somebody, and it's just crazy. He was a meat eater. This person I'm talking about was an animal eater. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to explain to him why we should not eat animals, why we're not designed to eat animals. And, you know, I understand this because I'm on the other side now, but it took a long time for me to get here. You know, I've been off of eating animals for 4 going on 5 years now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at a different level than the person I was talking to. So I'm like, yo, bro, we're not designed to eat animals because every mammal that naturally eat animals, like tigers, lions, bears, cats, dogs, all of their babies are born with their eyes shut. And they can't see the same frequency of color that we see. If you have a dog, you know dogs only see in black and white. Wolves only see in black and white. And that's because they're designed to eat other animals. So what they need to see color for. Human babies are born with their eyes open because we have the gift to see the light spectrum that we can see, because plants ripen when it's time. Fruit ripens when it's time to eat it. Certain colors on fruits and plants let you know not to touch it at all. This is something that we have that's unique to us. And I kept going on, like it's so much, it's staggering, you know what I'm saying? It's staggering, you know what I'm saying? So with us having this intelligence, we need to exercise our intelligence, you know what I'm saying? And we can get back to building pyramids, making lead from gold, not just figuratively, but literally. You know, we should be living for hundreds, if not 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should not be dying at the rate we're dying at. We should not be suffering from the diseases that we're suffering from. You know what I'm saying? And we should not take a subservient position to somebody who's less intelligent than us. We go to the doctors with our loved ones, and we let the doctor do whatever the hell they want to do. Like, we know that we have more intelligence. Why don't we use it? Why don't we use it? It's because a lot of us don't know enough about ourselves. We don't know that we were building cars first. Like, you know about the Patterson Car Company?
Nope.
The Patterson Car Company is the first Black-owned car manufacturers in the world. The Patterson Car Company were building cars that were far more complex and better quality than even the Model T Ford when the Model T Ford came out. The Patterson Car Company went from making private vehicles just for regular residential use to also making buses, limousines, commercial vehicles. The Patterson Car Company is founded by a Black man who came directly out of slavery. He went straight from picking cotton and all of that to building cars, far sophisticated than any other cars that was ever made after that. So because we understand these things, say that again?
No, I was saying I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. Did you see it?
Yeah.
So, you know, with us knowing more about ourselves, this lets us know that we still supposed to be doing that. To be born with this skin right here is a blessing. We're representing people like Patterson. We're representing people like Vivian Thomas, like George Washington Carver. We're representing those ancestors right now because we are our ancestors. That DNA is handed down through us via our polymorphisms. That intelligence is inside of us. We can access all of that information if we just adhere to our natural intelligence. We got to stop damaging our DNA. Our DNA holds our intelligence. You see what I'm saying? So it's still more, and I would love to go in with you a little bit more on the alchemy and stuff, but I think for today, we need to get this straight, and because I know my princess is about to wake up any minute, so I'm going to be back on daddy duty. And then we can build again either tonight or tomorrow to be free, and we could kind of go in on the alchemy or the time travel, either way. But this is also something that, you know, people went to school for 40, 50 years before they can really, you know, put these things into action, before they can really start practicing some of these things. They studied it and studied it and studied it and studied it. They just didn't throw no rocks into a pile and make no pyramids. They studied that and studied that and studied that for a long time before they even did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just going to wake up one day and turn lead into gold. You got to study it and study it and study it. First, you got to know what you're studying. You know what I'm saying? So now that we know, we can actually break this open a little bit and definitely scratch the surface and go in a lot more. We can go in a lot more in detail. And those same people that you know that go to these HBCUs, you'll be teaching them. They should be paying you, because the people that are teaching them, if they're not giving them this, they're giving them a miseducation. See what I'm saying? So, is there any other questions regarding what we went over right now? And I'd like to address that if you have any questions over what we just went over right now for this last hour.
I think somebody said something about how did you get to from 3/5 to 5/3 with basically just estimating?
Well, I showed the math. Okay. Without because I don't want to pull it all up and go through that again. But basically, through the Yale study, they at the Yale School of Science, they had what they were working on called the nuclear DNA diversity ascertainment of human populations. Meaning, they were looking at the nuclear DNA, the differences in DNA amongst all human populations on Earth. They found us 15 base polymorphisms was shared between all people. All people have this base 15 polymorphisms. Polymorphisms are intelligent DNA. Intelligent strands of DNA are called polymorphisms. Now, outside of the 15 base polymorphisms, they found that an additional 13 polymorphisms were endemic, specific, exclusively only shared with African descendant people. Therefore, that 15 plus that 13 gives us 28. Then they further went on to conclude that all other races of people outside of those African descendant people had only an additional 4, which brings their 15 plus 4 to 19. And my brother Duncan just chimed in. See, yeah, Duncan is linked in with the OFABIT too. And it's anybody that want to connect with the OFABIT Institute, the academic home of Professor Gabrielle Oyibo personally, and talk to them on a conference call, you can DM me your number, and I will gladly let you in on a conference call with the OFABIT Institute, Ground Zero for Technology, intellectual home of Gabrielle Oyibo, the founder of Gagutical. Anytime you're ready, I'll make myself available. So for the questions that you might want to ask that I can't properly ask, I'll let you ask him yourself. And he's the greatest mathematician on the planet. And it's a blessing that we have him alive right now to tap in. You know what I'm saying? So we can actually get this information directly from him. You know what I'm saying? So that brought them their 19, and, you know, the 15 plus 13 brought us our 28. But we go further to conclude that this was done by Yale. Yale is home of the Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is a branch of Illuminati. The Illuminati is literally white supremacy. So with them having hands in this study, can we trust that they're being honest? No, we can't trust that they're being honest, because they've never been fair to us. They're the ones who gave us the 3/5 label. So we further concluded that they suppressed our number of 28. Our number of 28 rounded to the nearest 10 will go to 30. And they inflated their number of 19. And their 19 is probably inflated from the nearest 10, which will be 18. And then that 30 and 18 common denominator is 6. 6 goes into 35 times. 6 goes into 18 3 times. And it's funny that it's a complete inversion from 3/5, 5/3. What they did was they used dynamic projection and projected their DNA polymorphism count onto us. You know what I'm saying? onto us. And how we know that is, just like I said, we thought we would never see a black president. We thought we would never be the leaders of humanity. But in fact, we are the real leaders. There should be no other candidates other than Gagutical candidates. There should be no other, like it's crazy. And this is some of the reasons why they maintain this fraud. Is because if they let this out, if the truth comes out, we take over as the leaders. We take over as the leaders. Can you imagine that? But that's how it was. Since the founding of this nation, it was all white people, it was all European peoples. We didn't even see it being nobody else. Mm. They don't want that reality to be the truth. You see what I'm saying? That's right. We're the new humans, the super sapiens, the Gagutians. That's right. We're here right now. You know what I mean? So, you know, we have to move in accordance to this God order. Like, it's such a blessing that it's here right now. You know what I'm saying? That it's here right now. All of these other Europeans had these schools. They had Gagutical University. They had the Institute for Advanced Study. But Albert Einstein didn't find it. Isaac Newton didn't find it. They had all of these. They had all of this stuff at their, disposal that they could have used. That was the cutting edge of technology at the time, and they still couldn't find it. Even when we look at the particle collider they got at CERN, they'll never complete their mission. They'll never complete their mission because they can't do what they think they can do because they're not applying Gaga. You know what I'm saying? They're not applying it. They're suffering from three-fifth-ism to think that they can circumnavigate this. This is the greatest discovery, the greatest scientific achievement to be found. This is the holy grail of mathematics. This is what Albert Einstein looked his whole life to find. This is what those early European colonizers went into Kemet looking for. This is why they burnt down the library at Alexandria. This is why they raided those pyramids and tombs and took all of those works. This is why they did that, because they knew that they had the unified field theorem. They knew that they understood how the stars work, how the earth worked, how the body worked. That's a grand unification. That's putting everything together. That's being in harmony with nature. This is why this dynasty stood for thousands of years, unharmed. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to go over. Like, I'm telling you, it's a lot. It literally covers everything. Like, we can literally talk about any and everything, and God will apply. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, if you want to go deeper, even deeper than we're going after, we talk, you can send me a number and I'll call you on three-way with Professor Oyibo and the Ofabit Institute personally. You know what I'm saying? So if it's any questions, like, we can go in deep. And you can enroll. I'm enrolled in the school, so I speak to the professor on video chat and like all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely cheaper than any school that you could go to now. And especially when the schools we go to now are all a fraud by Jim Crow that got us in a cyclical loop of debt and student loans and check the check type of civilization and lifestyle. Listen, I haven't had a job since I was 16. You know what I'm saying? I'm 38 right now. I haven't worked a regular job since I was 16. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I exercise my intelligence to make my income. You know what I'm saying? We're smarter, like, we're so smart sometimes we sleep on ourselves. You know what I mean? So people like Professor Oyibo, myself, my brother Cor, Chief, my brother Duncan, we're all examples of how we can exercise our intelligence to have a greater, more comfortable existence and actually be the leaders. You know what I'm saying? Be teachers, be the real leaders of humanity. This is what it's about. You know what I'm saying? So now that we have at our access, how we can break down time travel. Like, imagine how this will change the world. That's how those European Jews got their reparations, by having some intelligence that can be used to create technology that can change the history of the world and save millions of lives. And that's what we're going to do. Forever change the course of history and save millions of lives using Gaga. Gaga has changed the world, literally. The only thing is, we have yet to receive our so-called reparations, our so-called benefits from it, because we're not attaching ourselves to it. So many people in general don't know. Definitely, damn near all black people don't know, and they definitely should. If they did, they would treat themselves different. They wouldn't do what they do if they knew what they need to know. And they don't know this. They have not yet received their Gagutical constitution. You know what I'm saying? And once they do, they will stop abusing their DNA. This is the goal. They will stop abusing their DNA. You know, we will start to actually live longer. We will start to actually be healthier. We will start to actually build and control our resources better. And our first resource is our mind. But how are we going to control our minds when we don't even control what we allow in our bodies? Our bodies control our minds. Our minds control our bodies. What we allow in our bodies, it manipulates our mind. Think about it. When you drink some Hennessy, you drunk. You act drunk. You think drunk. When you smoke some whatever, you act that way. You think that way. Like, what you allow in your body controls the way you think, controls your mind. This is a theorem. You are what you eat. You see what I'm saying? So once we all have this God order, we can all move in accordance. You know what I'm saying? We could all, you know, go back to being scientists again, go back to being creators again, go back to being leaders and teachers again. We got to stop letting outside people dictate what we can and can't do. You know what I'm saying? We are the most intelligent. It just is what it is. This is a theorem. This is not a theory. This is a theorem. Theorem means truth on top of truth. This is not a theory. This is a theorem. It cannot be debated. And when you stand on Gaga, you stand on the truth. You know what I mean? So anybody that you share this information with, if you have trouble articulating it and you need my assistance, just send me your number and I'll make myself available to have a conference call with these people who you love and you care for to deliver this God order news with them, as well as connect you to the OFABIT Institute, academic home of Gabrielle Yibo, the founder of GAGA, Ground Zero for Intelligence of the Universe. Really the only true university in the universe, because Harvard learns from Oyibo. Yale learns from Oyibo. MIT learns from Oyibo. He even taught NASA and worked at NASA for 4 years. All of the same people that made CERN, like all of them learned from Oyibo. You know what I'm saying? So we got this supreme mathematics that's been going for I don't know how many years back available to us right now. You know what I'm saying? So after 2,500 years of us enduring a second class type of citizenship, taking the back seat, we now have been ordained by God Almighty to take the driver's seat, to be the leaders, again, to turn it up. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me excited. And, you know, just like I said, we can go in more about the alchemy. We can go in about the time travel. I definitely have an understanding of it, especially with speaking to Gabrielle Yibo and actually having one of his books. I don't know many people who have any of these books. You know, this is the most expensive books you can find. This book is $1,500. You know, when I read it, I open it up, I go over the math. It's crazy math. So we can talk about that too. We could definitely do another live and we can build on some more. And I can show you in it, alchemy in it. I can show you in it, time travel in it. Definitely the vortex mathematics, turbulence, the unified field, what the field is, sound waves, light waves, what they are, what waves are, the Big Bang Theory, what they're actually saying, the Bible, how the Bible is actually science, is not a history book. You know what I'm saying? It's science in there. A lot of it is has been hijacked and misinterpreted stuff also, but it's actually science in there. Oh, you know what? They're about to cut us off. All right, so look, I'll hit you up and let me know if you want to go back in a little bit later. I'll definitely make myself available. Peace and love and guided greetings.
All right, peace.